Hi there, David Wolf here from Audavita Studios. I'm here with my friend, colleague, and the author, Jennifer Wisdom. Hi, Jennifer. How are you?
Hi, David. I'm great, thanks. How are
Thanks.
you?
Great to be with you. It's Friday somewhere, and here we are. We had such a good time recording together your book, which is a really, really deep dive into all things millennials, and it's called The Millennials Guide to Work, What No One Ever Told You About How to Achieve Success and Respect. Capital R on the respect. I added the emphasis. This is the world you work in, right? Tell us
Yeah,
a little bit about the backdrop and sort of set the stage for the work you do, and then what led to the book itself.
sure. I worked in universities for more than 20 years and had a lot of students and trainees and young professionals. And I saw over and over that it was never the content of the work. It was rarely the content of the work, the statistics, the accounting, the psychology, whatever. It was always, how do I deal with my colleagues? How do I understand the workplace? How do I deal with my boss? How do I earn respect at work? And especially for millennials, today's young people between 20 and 40 years old,
Yeah.
this has been so challenging. So I decided to take all my wisdom, all my information, and put it into Millennials Guide to Work. And then a second book, Millennials Guide to Management and Leadership, just came
Yeah.
out in spring.
Oh, that's
Uh,
beautiful. Yeah, we should talk about that. There's a little bit of a leg. You and I worked together. I want to say it's almost a year ago on the
yep.
audio for the book that we're now talking about. But you have us, so we'll cover them both in this, so we get you promote the work you're doing. If you had to boil it down, this is like the $65 million question. If you had to boil it down to, what is it about this generation that seems to make it so? That creates these challenges. And of course, I'm looking at your table of contents as I ask the question, and I'm asking myself, maybe the answer is self-evident, but in the book itself. But if you could boil it down, is there a way to do that?
Sure. I think that coming into this era of social media has created a lot of challenges. So there's young people, the millennials and the Generation Z, which is the generation after millennials, who are digital natives and who can really use this. And then there are Generation X like me and baby boomers and olders for whom this is relatively new. And of course, some of us not linked to age, some of us are pretty facile with working with these new technologies.
Right.
But honestly, and I say this as Gen X, I think there's a bit of jealousy going on here. These are young people who have all kinds of opportunities and amazing ability to connect in ways that Gen X, I started on that Commodore 64 doing my own program. We never had that opportunity. And the fact that they're into it just makes them a target. And remember, they used to say this stuff about us when we were young too, that, it was the end of the world. And back to ancient Romans said that the young people were the end of the world and they were terrible. This just goes in waves. I think because of the social media that has allowed us a much broader extent for people to share their thoughts. And the name of millennials, the idea of these generational differences has really caught on more.
Right. It's like a label.
Made them an easy target. And, I think the solution, as I'm saying in the books, is for people who are older. If you have problems with millennials, if you have problems with a whole generation, help them. Don't just say that they don't know anything or whatever, because we didn't know things when we were 20 or 22 or even 30. There were plenty we didn't know. So help them out.
Yeah, as you point out, it is a repeating cycle. Same thing with technology itself, let alone the humans that are placed into a context of technology and change. It's a repeating pattern. It's a rinse and repeat for sure. And as a baby boomer, I think you're right about that quote unquote jealousy, or maybe not quote unquote. We are sitting together during this pandemic, and it is, as you know, accelerated the move of a lot of advanced age people, baby boomers and older, to have to use technology now, whether it's Zoom or pick your conferencing system of du jour, because everyone's, for all the reasons we know. And so you're seeing it sort of like being hyper forced on them, and the shock and the PTSD around technology and fear. So it ends up manifesting in the workplace, I suppose, is part of,
in so many ways, many ways. When I was looking into this before I wrote the book, and certainly before we met, I saw that there were probably 8 to 10 at the time books on how Gen X and baby boomers can deal with millennials. how to
deal
understand
with. Yeah.
millennials in the workplace. Like they're zoo animals. This is totally not okay. So I could not find a single book on how to help millennials deal with cranky older people like us. So
Yeah.
the book that I targeted.
That's really cool. All right. And you know, and so we worked on the audio together. So I had the chance, as I often do, to sit with an author like yourself and like experience the journey. And this book is the format of it is really fascinating because you have many challenges. I see the number of challenges. Let's see. Well, how many of it? There's 66 challenges in the book, and they're divided into sections: basic work skills, self-management challenges, colleague challenges, and boss challenges. So you really, what I remember sitting with you as you were reading your own words is you're really peeling back the layers of each onion, aren't you?
Yep, absolutely. And a lot of this came from when I'm working with folks and I would talk with them with younger people, and I'd talk with them about becoming a leader and becoming a manager because I'm so passionate about that. And finally they said, look, I don't need to be a leader right now. I just need to know how to deal with my, office mate who brings in stinky food, or I need to know how to understand what my boss wants of me.
Yes, it was really granular and specific. So you think about it, 66 challenges. And let me just read a couple of these. I'll pick up a few. My boss has temper tantrums, number 58. The boss doesn't lead. Challenge 45, backstabbing. I mean, these are literally extracted from your experience consulting and dealing with people in a very specific situation, as opposed to this broad stroke of how do I deal with this age group. So it's really fascinating. Now, let me just flash the cover on again so people can recognize it. Millennials Guide to Work. There it is, audio and all the other formats available where all fine books are sold. Tell us about the book that just came out, because we're on a little bit of a time lag in terms of the releases of these. So if you will, toss it to you.
Sure. Millennials Guide to Management and Leadership. Understanding that 20 to 40 years old is a broad age range. And a lot of millennials, when the first book came out, said, but I'm already a manager. I know this stuff. And I'm like, I know, but I can only write one book at a time.
Yeah, right.
So I have the Management and Leadership book is for people who have a little more work experience under their belt, and they're either interested in becoming managers and leaders, or they're new managers and leaders, or they have some experience currently and they're looking for how to improve their skills in that area. And so this gets into more political issues, more around how to get started in a management leadership position, or if you're already there, how you can maybe do a reset, how to work with your staff, especially older staff. Millennials find themselves in the place of needing to supervise people who are older than them.
Yes.
So that's challenges as well. And when their boss is older than them or younger than them, and how to deal with those kinds of challenges.
Wow. And those are challenges. I mean, I've never been in that situation, but I'm the old guy in the room now, but I can't imagine what that looks like. Although as I think about my own children, one of them deals in a call center environment where, it's a very stressful environment anyway. So a lot of the interpersonal things tend to come out in that type of high stress. And he's had situations with people that are working for him as agents. And he's, 31. So it's, you get it. Yep. This is your world.
That happens. And kind of a number one tip for that, if anyone's interested in tips, is try to defuse the cross-generational stuff. Saying anything about people's age or generalizing all baby boomers are this or all millennials are that is unlikely to ever be helpful. So trying to diffuse it and understand where people are coming from could be helpful.
When you label the generations, I've heard somewhere, I think it was another expert in millennials that I worked with at some point years ago, who said that millennials don't like to be called millennials. Is there truth to that, or is that a part of the equation here?
Yeah, that's what I have heard as well. They were originally Gen Y, so Generation Y coming after Generation X and now before Gen Z. And then they got stuck with this millennials moniker. I also tease that, we have the greatest generation. That's what happens when you let a generation name itself. But that's okay. Millennials don't have to like the term millennials, but that's kind of where we're at. I'm not particularly fond of Generation X, but I guess it does make us sound a little mysterious or something. But, we don't always like that name or the decade we're born into. But it suffices to just be a description of just a way to name that generation. And they've got so much
cool.
Maybe they.
Okay, I'm having some audio issues with you. I hope that our video is okay. Things got a little funny with audio, so we'll sign off now. I'm so glad I can't hear you at the moment, but I'm so glad you were able to join me on this Friday author profile. Love the work you're doing once again. The Millennials Guide to Work. We've been visiting with Jennifer P. Wisdom. Jennifer, thanks for joining us, and we'll do it again for sure.
Thanks. Thank you.